Hey guys and girls, welcome back to 396 Guitars. It's got a 12-string Alvarez on the bench today where my mission is to put an LR Bags pickup system in it. It is an acoustic electric, but it has no control. It is what it is. It picks up the sound and runs it through an amp. So the LR Bags is what I recommended to the customer, and that's what we're going to put in. So let's get to work. Remember, if you dig what I'm doing, like and subscribe. And focus, please. And by all means, share. Got a lot of comments recently. Some of you were digging on the Flying V. Nice little guitar. Anyway, middle of the road guitar. It's probably got some age on it, but I wouldn't say it's a vintage or anything. But it's actually quite a nice sounding instrument. I mean, it really does sound nice. It's got good resonance, and it's clean. It's got nice finish on it. I don't see any major problems with this guitar. So first thing we're going to do is get the strings off. I was checking some measurements. I think we're going to be okay. It shouldn't need too much setup, but of course I'm going to go through and do all of that. It really isn't that bad as far as string height goes. We're right around 7 and 4. So we're gonna have this open, and we'll see. Make sure there isn't a shim or some kind of shenanigans going on there. The last few acoustic guitars I've worked on, I found guitar strings cut off and jammed in there. No, that's a fail. You don't do that. I have seen it quite a bit. It's an old tech hack. I don't agree with it. But I digress. So yeah, I've got 12 strings to get off of here. I'm going to pause while I do that, so we can get to the meat of it, which is changing out the pickup, getting the old electronics out. This one does carry a battery system in it, and it's got a volume and a tone that will mount right here, so that you can just stick your finger in there and adjust your volume and tone. So stand by. So they're all unscrewed, and then we just take them out. Pretty basic stuff. It's the same as doing any 6-string acoustic, but you have 12 strings instead of 6. You gotta make sure you put them back the right way. If you're not sure, try to change them one at a time. That way you don't get lost or mixed up. It can get confusing if you're not 100% sure what you're doing. All right, what do we got in here? What do we got? That's our bass side. So this guy's got to come out. There's no shim in there. This is always the trickiest part, getting the new one in, but sometimes you got to drill that hole out a little bit bigger. So that's our actual pickup coming out. And down here, let me move up and get in the camera a little better. The way I do these, I got this neat little tool. This goes in the jack and holds it in position. Just tighten it up, and that way you can get a wrench on there. And the wrench looks like it's 13 or half. Ultra thin wrenches help facilitate this process. Take that back out. This guy. I am 100% certain that had to come through there, so looks Looks like it's literally powers itself up through the amp. Very cheap. But it works, and it's worked for many years for this guy. I'm just going to snip it off and pull it out that way. I probably am going to have to make that hole right there a little bit bigger, only because that one has to be able to come through and lay over. So yeah, I think for our purposes, just snip it off. Of course, there's always a washer or two down in there that don't want to cooperate. And where did you go? Right there. We can reuse some of that if we need to. All right, okay, the old one is out. So I think before I put the whole new one in, I'm curious if that will actually go up through there or not. I really like the LR Bags gear. It's really good quality stuff, and it gives good service for a long time. Just not crazy about their packaging. Yeah, fella. This one does carry a battery, as I said. Get this one done first. It does go through there. Question is, am I going to be able to find that little hole and stick it through there? Because it's going to be really, really tough. If I can get it started and get it coming through, it's really difficult to see it. Come on, you. Nope, it wants to be slightly bigger. It's just going to end up jamming up my pickup. And I don't want that. So, a little bit drill bit. Not much, but some. I think if I use that one, it'll be good. Put your headphones on. Sorry about that. We might get lucky. Do I want to run this through there now, or do I want to get this mounted first? I'm curious. Did they give me, they usually do, they did. They give me the little metal clasps that mount in here to keep your wires away from the sound hole so they're not totally obvious. Another reason why I like this brand. So usually they reset the bolts. The nut right there is what holds it against the inside. And usually they kind of pre-measure it for you, but they didn't in this instance. So I'm going to have to run it all the way down and guess. I'm going to try to mimic the length that was on the old one. And that probably a little bit less. You don't want any of the threads sticking out of your beauty ring because the jack will hang up on it and not click all the way into the output jack. So that's my only tip for that. Let's see. Let's test fit it, see what happens. We have oh, excuse me. A little hay fever today. Got 2 lock washers. Oh, am I going to be able to reach in there and get the whole thing in? Doubtful. No. So how do you do that, you ask? Well, you finagle yourself a homemade tool. Do they make tools for this? Yeah, they do, but I'm not going to spend $50 for one of them. Whenever I need one, I make one, and I've had this one for a long time, and it really kind of works pretty good. It's just a 1/4-inch jack that I put a wire on, kind of a hard wire. You don't want a loose one. The hard one seems to work a little better. Put it through, grab it, leave it hanging out this end. Plug your jack in here. Try not to dump all your washers. And then pull it through in the output jack all the way. Of course, the wire pulled through. Best laid plans. Pull it through, and you're going to probably have to do this a couple of times. Let's see how many times it takes me. I have a feeling we are not far enough. I want it to come back slightly. I think a little bit more. It's pretty important that you get the right amount of reveal out of the output jack hole so that your guitar cable that you plug into the output jack engages correctly. Mind you, first time it went right in, now it's going to fight me. Alright, I like that better. You get a closer look at it. And if you got too much of the inside thread sticking out, you will not be able to tighten up the outside nut onto it. So it's critical that you get it right where it needs to be. Better to have enough and not too much, if you catch my meaning. Keep your tool plugged into the output jack until you're done, and you get a nut started on there. Then it can't move. Lock washer goes on the inside. cooperate. Fix my tool because sometimes the nut doesn't want to go over this little nubbin here. It's either a piece of solder or some damn thing always hangs up on there. I think I'm going to have to do that. This nut does not want to go over it. I don't know what's catching. There we go. Just when I think I have to take it apart, it goes. Okay, so that is in there. Now we reverse tighten it, make sure we have that secure and snug, and then we can go to installing the rest of the gear, which is the pickup has to come through here and lay down under the saddle. We have to mount the volume and tone right here so that just the knobs stick out enough so you can see it. And then we have to put the battery case and Velcro it in. All right, so stand by while I tighten this down, and I'm going to try to off camera get the pickup shot through there because that's going to take a few minutes. Stand by. Okay, so yeah, we have everything in there. It took me off camera about 4 or 5 tries, and that's about par for the course to get that just to the right length where the threads are level with the beauty ring where your pickup, your output jack takes the pickup. Before I go any further, of course, we have to test everything and make sure that it is working. And the way I do that is plug it in, turn it on an amp, and we're going to tap test it and see. I think I can already hear sound. Let's see if I can get these in the middle somewhere. Yeah, I already hear sound, so that's a good sign. Oh yeah, very good. And that is a good sign. So there's our pickup right there inside, and it takes a little bit of doing to get it pushed down in there. And again, that's why I like the LR bags, because it's kind of a DiMarzio style pickup, whatever you want to call it, but it will mold to the bottom of the channel where the saddle goes in. Too often when you put these pickups, these style pickups in there, it raises the saddle up so much that you end up with a string action problem later on. And of course, that's why after we get done stringing it up, we're going to have to check all that stuff. I know it's going to raise it a little bit, but it shouldn't. My experience with this system is that it's not that bad. It's totally adjustable and easy to overcome. All right, so yeah, our volume and tone kind of go right here, and it comes with two-sided tape, and you just kind of peel off the paper and get it set right where you want it. You want it just to stick out just enough, and usually there's a brace there that you want it to be flat, not sitting on top of a brace, half on top and half off. You want it to be right level and it's just barely sticking out so you can read where it says volume and tone, if that makes any sense at all. Come off of there, you. And again, the reason I recommend this system more than anything is because they use 3M. 3M's good stuff, and it sticks and it stays, if not forever, damn near forever. Get it where you like it and then press it on there. So yeah, it's just right there. And it can be moved, you know, if it has to be moved later on, but pretty certain that's where I want. There's a brace right here, so that's pretty much where it has to live. I don't want it to go that way and be half on a brace and half not. I want it flat right against the inside. So, same thing with our Velcro. That's the battery bag. And where I like to put it is over here, out of the way, flat against the back side of the guitar. So it's going to lay flat in there over here. And you just peel the tape, stick it in there, and then put the battery bag on it. And again, pretty sticky stuff. And the reason I like to put it all the way over there is so you don't see it through the sound hole. And if I do this correctly, we only have really the one wire that we have to worry about getting out of the way and over there. And they so graciously give you a couple of these out of there. They're kind of soft metal, and again with double-sided sticky tape. It's just a hook that bends. You put the wire through there, bend it over, and it holds the wire out of the way. And usually I put one all the way over there. And then you're golden. You follow? I can already tell that this pickup system has way more power than the one that was in there. The one that was in there was probably the cheapest of cheap kind of stuff that you could put. It was probably what it came with, or maybe somebody added it later. But I would say definitely a big upgrade here. What is going on? Off of there. There we go. I'm not going to put that right over there, I think. Right where I can get at it. You want to be able to, do some maintenance on it later if you have to. I'll stick it right there. Put the battery wire in it. You may have to put a second one, but sometimes yes, sometimes no. And that holds the wire. And then when you put the battery in, it gives us enough wire. When the strings are off, you can pull the clip out, the battery connector. Battery goes in the bag. The bag velcros shut. And then there's Velcro on the back. And that goes over to your, and that will sit there and you can't see the wire. And that's the way I like it. So I'm going to pause briefly while I get ready to do the restring on that. Before I do that though, I'm going to clean up his frets, of course. I'm going to clean the guitar. I'm going to polish the frets and oil the board and do all the stuff that I normally do when I'm setting up an acoustic instrument like this. I am not going to put all of that in the video. You guys know how I do it. Many of you have seen it. Yeah, just go to town and start cleaning the frets. And they do need it. There's some, they're turning green. You just kind of, with some really, really light Scotch-Brite, you get after the fret, and you can see the difference in the first one that I just did compared to the one in front of it. I think you can. Yeah. So that is quite time-consuming. And this video is pretty much at the end. That's how we install the LR Bag's electronic pickup. It is a preamp built into the jack. So it does carry a battery. It has a tone and a volume control here, which he did not have before. So that's why we upgraded it. When we come back in the second installment of this, we will have cleaned up the frets polished the board, oiled the board, and we'll be ready to restring it and do the setup on it. So it's Blackjack with 396 Guitars. Thanks for hanging in there. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all your support. I watch the comment section all the time. I try to read them all. I try to respond to them all, unless you're a jerk-off and you're a troll and want to give me a hard time, in which case I ignore you. We'll talk soon.